Hello, it's Thursday, November the 2nd, 2017. You're watching Life Talk, and I'm Mark Crutcher.
And I'm Renee Hobbs. Thanks for joining us.
Listen, we had an event happen, I guess it was yesterday, in Congress, naturally. That's where all the mischief and the things that'll make your blood boil happen.
Right, yeah.
When some Congress nuisance does something.
Yep.
There's hearings over the heartbeat bill.
Yes.
And the heartbeat bill basically just says if you can detect a heartbeat,
Yes.
you can't kill the baby. It's a living human being. You can't kill them.
Yes.
This is being debated. During the debate, a friend of ours, Star Parker, was testifying, and she was basically bringing in the African American position on this bill and on abortion itself overall,
Sure.
and making the point that basically abortion is genocide, and abortion is black genocide in particular, and actually, I was real proud of her. She was using some of the information from our thing that we put out using the zip codes to show where Planned Parenthood has put all the abortion clinics in the country.
Yes.
Absolutely proves irrefutably
Oh,
that
definitely.
the black community has been targeted.
And Hispanic, but yes.
Well, anyway, while this, the Hispanics
Yeah.
as well, that's right. While this was going on, Congress nuisance from Tennessee named Steve Cohen, and I looked on his website, and he's a raging pro-abort. But he's like every other pro-abortion coward that you come across. He's got 2 pages on his website about women's issues, and I downloaded it here. And he talks about reproductive choice and supporting women's reproductive rights.
Yes.
Never uses the word abortion. This is the only social movement in the history of the world that advocates a position that they will not repeat.
They tiptoe around it.
They tiptoe all around
Yes.
it because they know that it's murder. But anyway, I want to show you just a little 1-minute clip here
Okay.
of how he treated Star Parker during this hearing. I mean, it was unbelievable. Watch this clip real quickly.
This is causing a lot more social pathologies that have to be addressed through different types of legislation, and not the heartbeat bill. The heartbeat bill is to protect the
Chair.
innocent.
Chair, I recognize the gentleman from Tennessee, the ranking member.
Thank you. Firstly, we're in filler time, waiting for somebody to come testify. I would ask that we allow Ms. Jayapal to do filler as well as the chair. And I'd also like to say that I am not disingenuous about anything I say about Medicaid or Medicare or LIHEAP or SNAP programs. And to suggest I'm disingenuous
Star, will
shows
we
your
come to you
ignorance
after we finish
or
this
your absolute inability to deal with Congress people the way they should. I believe in those issues, and I think they're proper, and to say I'm disingenuous is just wrong, and I expect an
Do you see
apology.
that guy behind him
I would
just
ask for an
smirking?
apology from the gentleman from Tennessee calling our witness ignorant when it seems to me she has a whole lot more knowledge and wisdom.
She's
than
ignorant about me.
hearing.
Everybody is. You're both out of order.
A fine admission on your part.
Given the lack of civility before this committee, this concludes today's hearing. Thanks to all of our witnesses for attending. Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days to submit additional written records for the witnesses or additional materials for the record. This hearing is now adjourned.
All right.
Mark, did you see that man behind Cohen smiling?
Smirking. He wasn't
Smirking?
smiling. He wasn't.
That's it. That's irritating.
This is an obscenity. But joining us right now, Star has graciously agreed to join us. She's got a hectic schedule today, one reason because of all this stuff. Hello, Star. Thank you for joining us.
Star.
So glad to be on. Oh, hi, Renee. Hi, Mark. It's good to be on, and it's been too long. But, you know, it's interesting, 2 points you mentioned. The smirking. What's fascinating about God and encouraging about God is the person near him, I'm not going to mention which one, came up to me after and quietly whispered, "Thank you." Wow, I really learned something here.
Wow.
But also, I'm glad that you mentioned that a lot of the data that I was able to refer to, which is also in our policy report, is put in now to the congressional record with your name on it.
Oh, great.
You guys have done incredible work over the years to be able to expose the lies of the left. And then I'm humbled by opportunities like this to then bring them into this type of setting and then put them in the congressional record so that we can end abortion.
Well, I appreciate your using our materials. That's what we put it out there for. If all the work that we do here just goes for nothing if people like you aren't out in the field using it. So that's why we put it out there.
Well, we appreciate it. And now I think years from now, when people look back at this time in history and say, what were they doing? What were they thinking? The same way we look back 100 years at slavery and say, what were they doing? What were they thinking? You will see your name in the congressional record, and they will see your name in the congressional record saying, well, here's one group that was doing something to stop it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Star. Were you at all shocked by this guy? I mean, I don't know how much you knew about him beforehand. I'd never even heard of him, but I looked him up after I saw this piece because I was livid. I was thinking, I'd like to take this guy out behind the building personally. That's, you know.
No, I can't do that, Darwin.
But did you know that he was this way, that he was just raging pro-abort?
Horrible liberals are all the same. The alt-left is all the same, so I don't need to know them specifically. But it is interesting that Congressman Cohen story, because he's the one who tried to join the Congressional Black Caucus because 60% of his district is black. He represents Memphis, which they carved out of Marsha Blackburn's district there in Tennessee a few years back, just so that she wouldn't have such a heavy black district, because she really wants to do something to help people. And so he feels that, I can represent these folks. So I'm hoping that his constituents now see what he really thinks about those folks and how ignorant we are, because we want to point out that 20 million have been killed in the womb of black women since Roe v. Wade became legalized, and this is significant, this is important, and it's not unnecessary then to try to combine it with issues of social ills in our community. And it is tenuous for him to have kept bringing up Medicaid. And it wasn't just him. It was also the protesters in the room, as one got up and started shouting about the video that was shown of a live ultrasound that was being taken place and that was also put into congressional record. So, yeah, Cohen is pretty new to the Congress, but he's no different from the rest of those hardcore left-wing liberals that we must replace and or go around to get what we want, which is to end abortion.
Right.
Yeah, so you brought up the Congressional Black Caucus, and I was going to ask the question, where are they? Where are they in all of this?
Oh, no, the Conyers is actually the minority member on that committee, so he just submitted his testimony. So that might be something that some of your listeners may want to look at and see what exactly he said. No, he was too cowardice to show up and listen to the details. He decided not to be there that day. But and then a couple of other liberals didn't show up. Don't forget, we outnumber them now. The red team won, and so we're going to see this opportunity to move ourselves toward ending abortion more and more. This heartbeat bill is incredibly significant. While it doesn't get rid of every abortion, it will make our job easier to get rid of at least 90%, so that then we can work on the additional 10%.
Right.
That's
and
right.
so the goal on this one is to get a full floor hearing by March for Life in January. And what I'm very encouraged by with Cohen showing who he really is it made national news. So now everybody's talking about it. So the likelihood of us getting that floor vote is getting closer.
Well, I think what Renee was getting at, though, was, has anyone from the Congressional Black Caucus contacted you about the fact that this white male congressman attacks a black female and calls her ignorant in a congressional hearing? Or because you and I both know, Star, if this were what would happen if today some congressman called Sheila Jackson Lee from here in Texas ignorant?
Oh my God!
What would happen? What would the Congressional Black Caucus? The Congressional Black Caucus would today be calling for that congressman to be thrown out of Congress.
Lasagna.
Congress, they'd probably burn the city down. They would pass new legislation to expand the welfare state so that we could. Oh no, we know the instruments of the left. You're absolutely right, but I don't expect to hear from the Congressional Black Caucus. And only one member I'm trying to get out of that, and that's Mia Love. She should not have joined, but this Cohen has joined. He made the case to the caucus that, I'm kind of like you guys. I'm left-wing liberal too, and so I think he's actually one of the 49 members in the Congressional Black Caucus. Our job, in particular, my job at CURE, is much more difficult with the caucus. So part of our goal is to replace every one of them. But as one really old quote said, when you're looking at doing hard things, it takes a long time. But doing impossible things takes a little longer.
Right.
So it's going to be very difficult to replace these Congressional Black Caucus members. But right now, they're just necessary noise to get to our goal, because if we can get the courage of the Republican Congress to do their job, which is to fulfill their promise that they're going to help in abortion, including defund Planned Parenthood, then we have another opportunity to save our country, to save our soul, and please God.
I noticed Renee noticed the guy sitting behind Cohen smirking like he was. Yeah. I noticed sitting behind you was our friend Janet
Porter.
I keep stumbling over that because I knew her for so many years as Janet Folger. Before she got.
You know what's interesting? Now, Janet, that's her bill. You know, she's the one that champions heartbeat all over the country. She had a few losses in some states. She had a few victories and stuff. You talk about one woman champion that just doesn't stop. She's my hero, and she's the one that introduced this idea to the chairman of the committee, who's Steve King, who's also a hero. He's also on our side when it comes to protecting the life of the innocent in the womb. So he brought up this opportunity in his, I think it's Constitution and Civil Justice part of the judiciary, and the chairman of the judiciary committee actually was in the room through the testimony. He left before this outburst, but he was actually in the room. So that's a good thing, because if Congressman Goodlatte brings it to his full judiciary committee for a vote, we then have enough voters on that committee to also pass it through, so we can get to a House vote.
Well,
I look at this opportunity with cheer. You know, it's difficult personally, of course, and the things that people say, and I feel really sorry for my assistant because she's the one that has to read through a whole lot of that stuff.
Right.
But at the end of the day, there are many, many that went before us that endured a whole lot more to get to truth, and that's what I'm after, is the truth that abortion hurts, it kills. As Father Pavone said, it destroys everything it touches. So we have to stop it.
Right, exactly right. You know, you're talking about your reference to the Constitution. Star, you're off the reservation if you think these people care anything about the Constitution. And let me give you an example here. This guy Cohen, this coward Cohen that attacked you the way he did, and of course,
that sounds nice. Hey, wait. Let's start calling him that. Let's do the coward like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's a coward. That's what he is. He attacked somebody that he knew couldn't fight back in a situation where he knew she couldn't fight back. But anyway, do you know that he was one of the people that introduced a resolution in Congress to impeach Trump over some of the comments he made about that situation in North Carolina? Now, I would ask this.
Transgender, yeah.
Where in the Constitution does it say that you can introduce articles of impeachment against a sitting president for remarks he made about an event that happened in a state? Just saying something about something that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that?
It's noise, but it's necessary noise. And I keep saying that the working title of my next book that will be out at the end of the year, probably released in February. It's necessary noise, but that's all it is. There is no impeachment opportunity here. We have 16 years, and the more the conservative right, in particular Christians, start thinking about this mercy that God extended to us last November in context, that we have 16 years to reverse 50 years of liberalism, the more encouragement we will have to get our job done and to stay focused. We have 8 years with Trump. We have 8 years with Mike Pence. So it's just necessary noise. There's no impeachment that's going to happen. But you're right. Cohen is hard left. He's a Bernie Sanders hard left. Mm-hmm. And frankly, after we finish with this round of interviews and the news moves on, I will look at it the same way I tell people about living next to a railroad track. It's just a train. After a while, you don't hear it anymore. So
Right.
I'm not that concerned about Cohen, but I'm very, very happy that God exposed him for the cowardice that he is.
He is a coward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The coward Cohen. I think that I might actually. Hey, I might give you credit once, Mark. I'm gonna use it on Fox and Friends since the president watches that, and then he'll use it.
Well, good. Well, wait a minute.
About coward Cohen.
I'm going to charge you a fee to use that now. You know, there's copyright.
You can't charge me. Wait. No, if
Every
I just
time
use
it's
it once, I
used.
give you credit. Then you have to charge him because he'll be the one that doesn't give you credit. The same way when I alt left. Used it and I didn't get any credit. And I didn't get any money.
Yeah, it seems like I ought to get some kind of royalty or something off of it.
Royalty for
Yeah.
Your royalty is in heaven, dude. Because I tell you, the work that you've been doing for years, you should be happy in your heart and looking forward to heaven to get a lot of theme that you need because the ball forward, and now we really have an opportunity. so confident, not just legislatively. We want to bring it on, take us to the court, because we'll win again. Ultrasound is on our side. Time is on our side. Science is on our side. Even the momentum of the millennials are on our side when it comes to, ending abortion, or at least changing current abortion laws and going after Roe v. Wade. And then the courts are on our side. President Trump is putting some really good people on the courts that we will get opportunity to revisit Roe v. Wade in our lifetime, and I'm very confident that we're going to win.
Absolutely. You mentioned Trump several times, and I mentioned him one time. And I keep on hearing people, even some people that are conservatives or some people that are Republicans or say they're on our side of these issues and stuff, complaining about Trump. And you know what? There's nobody we could have been put in there short of Jesus Christ himself. There's nobody we could have put in there that was going to be absolutely perfect and that we could agree with on every subject and every syllable that they say. However, the thing that I want people to understand is when somebody complains to me about Trump and they call themselves a Christian or a conservative or a pro-lifer, I always say the same thing. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Trump is a little crude sometimes, and he says this, and he doesn't do this like we think he ought to. But the question is, would you rather have Hillary Clinton?
Right.
Because that was the choice. We didn't have the choice.
Well, it was a choice after the primary. There were a lot of people that have and thought that maybe we should have been stronger and unified as a Christian people to get some alternative. But maybe we should reach even further back into the scriptures and look at the relationship between Pharaoh and Joseph. We haven't changed his ways. He probably didn't even fire Potiphar, whose wife didn't divorce. So Joseph had a whole lot of issues surrounding him. But yet was able to move God's people forward. They were protected as a result. So Pharaoh didn't change anything. He was a pretty evil person. And when you even think about Esther, she had to marry that man. She had to sleep with that man to deliver her people. And he didn't really change his way. He didn't become a Jewish man and convert to her side. So we really need to put it in historical context before we start getting into the little things. God is in the control of the affairs of man. And he said he turns the heart of man whichever way he wants to. He turned this election. Our thing might be why. One of my pastor friends actually sent a message to another friend and said, "Tell Star he's like Constantine." I was like, ouch. Gosh, that was pretty wicked. But then I thought, wait a minute. Constantine established the first church in the history of the world and stopped the persecution of Christians. I'm not mad at Trump.
Yeah, that's right. And again, the salient question here is, would you rather have Hillary Clinton? Because I'm telling you, if we were looking at right now, a year into a Hillary Clinton administration, I think this country would be in a total state of collapse. And I'm not.
God decided to extend mercy.
Right.
The difference between mercy, grace, getting what you don't deserve, mercy, not getting what you do.
Right.
We're in a horrible state. We didn't get what we really deserved. He's given us another opportunity. He could have given us Hillary, which would have made it darker. But even in the midst of darkness, he always seems to show light. So I was prepared for whichever the Lord said we deserved. And he decided that maybe we get one more chance to get this thing right. And that's why I'm adamant to make sure that we do everything we can. That first on pro-life, we make sure that whom God calls his reward, develop in the womb, has the protection of our nation, and then we go around the world and make sure that the innocent are protected as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely need to take this opportunity to fight.
This is our chance. It's make or break time. It's time to put up or shut up. We got to decide right now what kind of country we want to be. And
that's right.
Trump does not have to be the perfect man in order to accomplish that. And if you try to put limits on God, let me ask you this. If you went back to the day that Trump announced that he was running for president in a field of 18 Republicans, most of them with a lot of experience and a lot of political wind behind in their sails, what do you think the chances are that Donald Trump would have been taking the oath of office?
Very slim chance.
Nobody would have given. Las Vegas would have given you 100 million to 1 odds. If you wanted to put up $1,000, they'd have given you 100 million to 1 odds against him being elected president. Well, here he is. Against.
Well, it just depends on who, I suppose, that you were betting, because a lot of the pulse of America, a lot of decent people in quiet communities that get up on Sunday morning, go to church, go to Monday morning, they get them go to work after they send their kids off to school and tell them to behave. They're really frustrated with Washington. So I'm not a betting girl, But I'm not surprised at what happened. These folks have not had a vote because and a voice. What has happened? They get up, they go to church, they do everything they can to live right. They get their kids living right. They get to the end of the week, and they have maybe 50% of their check in their pocket.
Yeah.
We were at that critical cross point, like in the 1850s, to where we couldn't go on anymore.
Well,
we
I
had to make a decision. Like Abraham Lincoln, he looked in the scripture and said, we got to make a decision. We can't be half slave and half free anymore. We got to be one or the other. We could no longer be both. And that's where we were. And some people really recognized that, and they wanted somebody that had a big enough mouth, that had a big enough ego, that could make the case for them. And we ended up with President Trump.
That's right. You're exactly right. Well, listen, Star, I sure appreciate. I know you're slammed for time, and I appreciate.
I really am. I've got to go.
I know you do. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Star.
I appreciate being with you too, and it's been too long, and I in mind for a future interview.
We sure.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. He's on.
She is on fire.
Down.
Nope.
This guy didn't beat her down at all.
No. We need more people like that, don't we?
That's right. There's a lot of them out there. I mean,
there are a ton out there
that you don't ever hear about.
We have interviewed several that are
Recently.
on fire. Yeah.
Just recently, people
right.
that even most of the people in the pro-life movement, I would bet you that 60% of the people in the pro-life movement never heard Star Parker's name.
Right.
Until today, and if they watch this show.
Right.
And, that you could ask your husband, Tim, we know he's watching today, right? Mm-hmm. You could ask him tonight, had he ever heard Star Parker's name? He might have heard it from you, maybe.
He'll probably be answering here shortly.
Anyway, do we have anything else we need to deal with?
No, I mean, just people are shocked, ignorant, excuse me, Cohen, just stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah, he's calling him a pure coward, and
Yep.
he's a rabid leftist, but no.
He is, and one of the things he forgets about. When I sit here and watch him lecturing this lady here, mm-hmm. and acting like he's acting, mm-hmm. and him then saying something, it says, you're showing your ignorance and your absolute inability to, quote, deal with congresspeople the way they should be. He's forgetting something. Who works for who?
He's very proud of his title, per se.
But the question is,
yeah.
when somebody is elected to Congress,
mm-hmm.
who do they work for? Who is the boss? Who is the
mm-hmm.
employee? Who is the employer? Who is the employee?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
He is the hired help.
Right.
That was something that I can't remember the guy's name. Political columnist many years ago used to mm-hmm. talk about Congress. He said, mm-hmm. we got to remember, these people are the hired help.
That's right.
And for them to get up here on their high and mighty horse like this guy
mm-hmm.
and point his finger
mm-hmm.
at this woman and call her ignorant,
mm-hmm.
It's obscene. Yeah. But he's forgot who works for who. Who's the boss and who's the employee.
He's a very evil man.
He is thoroughly, well, he's a coward. And cowards tend to be evil. That's why in the Revelation, first people thrown into the lake of fire were cowards.
Yes.
And that's the first people that go. Yeah. Anyway, you got anything else?
Nope, nothing else. If you have any show suggestions, that's a mouthful.
Any what? Say that 3 times fast.
I know.
Say it once.
Show suggestions. Let us know. We would love to hear them. Send them to my email or call or Facebook private message, just however you want to get in touch with me, and we'll send you a mug whenever you do.
Smoke signal. That'll work too. She reads smoke signals very well.
Yes.
And anyway, that's all the time we have. Until next time, remember, Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight. We're here to win. Why, Renee?
Because winning is how the killing stops.
That's right. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you then.